Living in Saudi Arabia, I have the disadvantage of being detached from American style food, American style ingredients, American people. And today I'm going to make good old fashioned American bread. It's one of the things that you can't get your hands on around here. So I just want to show you that anybody can make a good home cooked bread just like mama used to make, like your grandma used to make. I'm going to start out today by just showing you that just because you're a bachelor doesn't mean you have to eat like one. In this bowl right here I have 2 cups of hot water. I warmed it up in the microwave and I put 1.5 tablespoons of yeast and 2/3 cup of sugar. I dissolved the sugar in the water first, and then I added the yeast and I'm letting it proof right now. Alright, my water, sugar, and yeast is proofing. You can see it's just puffing up like that. Now I'm going to mix in 1/4 cup of oil, 1 tablespoon of salt into this mixture. Alright, here goes my oil. Mix that in there. You can see how that's really puffy like that. Now the salt. So combine that up like that. Then I'm going to add 6 cups of flour. But I can't do it in this bowl because this bowl is too small. So I'm going to transfer this to another bowl. You know, I live in Saudi Arabia, so I'm constantly having to improvise. You know, I'm not Bobby Flay, I'm not Emerald. I don't have a whole bunch of people standing around grabbing things for me. I don't have all the greatest stuff. So I'm just showing you how any bachelor can make real good homemade bread just like grandma used to make. You want to add your flour about 1 cup at a time, just a little bit at a time. And this is actually my second batch today. I got my other ones over there on their second rise. This is gonna make this one batch makes 2 loaves, and today I'm making altogether be 4 loaves. I got some friends of mine, you know, they're kind of missing home and they don't have their wives around, and I'm not trying to be their wife, but you know, this gives me something to do and with my spare time. So I spend a lot of time cooking, and I don't want to eat it all, so I share it with the guys I work with, and they appreciate it. So, you know, it's a little taste of home, a couple 100,000 miles away seems like. So you mix that up about 1 cup at a time until it's incorporated in there. It's real easy. A lot of guys are intimidated by bacon because they see all these cooking shows, and you know, they just have all this fancy equipment and fancy production staff, and they got all these assistants, and it's just real intimidating. And I've been baking for a long time. My wife and my kids, you know, they spent time with me in the kitchen, and it's a good time to, you know, hang out with the family. And anyway, it brings back memories when I'm baking like this. So, all right, I've lightly floured my countertop here. What I'm going to do is just all right, I'm going to pour a little bit of oil here in this bowl, maybe about a 1/2 tablespoon, and I'm going to take this dough and I'm going to just roll it around in that oil, get it all coated, and swirl it around a little bit. They actually don't look as good as I want it, but I think it'll be okay, but we'll just have to wait and see. I need a little bit more oil. coat the whole thing. We're going to let it rise for about an hour. It's going to double in size, and we'll be ready for the next step. Alright, I got my dough coming out like that, and what I have to do is I dust my hands with some flour. I'm just going to punch this down like this. I'm just going to knead it a little bit. Not too much. Not too much at all. Okay? Just about like that. I'm going to shape it into a couple of loaves. I'm going to separate this now. Basically just going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to shape each one of these loaves into sort of a long, I'm going to just shape it into a bread loaf, just like that. It's real easy. You know, I know a lot of bachelors that live here, and they're intimidated about baking. You know, they like homemade bread, they like homemade cookies, they like homemade stuff, but you know, they're just intimidated, and they watch these shows on TV, just like I do, and they're always freaked out because they feel like they can't do it because they don't have these fancy kitchens and all this fancy stuff, and so, you know, consequently they don't do it. So I'm here to prove that you can do it. Anybody can make homemade bread, and this bread here is going to be kind of sweet. This is Amish. It's an Amish recipe that I'm using. And so here's my first one, and here's my second one. Like I said, I already greased up these pans, so there you have it. Okay, nothing to it. So we're going to cover those up, and we're going to let them rise until they're about an inch above the pan, and then they're going to go in the oven. Alright, these have been on their second rise for about 30 minutes. As you can see, they're about an inch above the pan. They're ready for the oven right now. They look really nice. There it is. It's looking really nice. You can't have a warm piece of bread without some butter on it. So I'll got me a piece of bread. Have some nice butter. And remember, that's pretty good. Just because you're living like a bachelor doesn't mean you have to eat like one.